This next story is about it's another article from Apple Insider, and it's talking about uh repair shops. Well, it's right to repair, but kinda not. So actually, Mike, if you guys don't know, Mike is Simply Your Device. He is another fellow tech YouTuber who I'm very good friends with, and Mike actually sent me this article, and he was like, "Hey, maybe you want to talk about this today?" And I read it, and I'm like, "Yeah, I'll definitely go over it." So this article is actually pretty interesting, and this article is saying repair shop loses the legal battle with Apple over quote counterfeit iPhone screen import. So I read through this article, and I have a few thoughts on it, and we'll talk about it. So, in the conclusion of a 2-year back and forth legal battle, an independent repair shop in Norway has lost an appeal over the import so-called quote counterfeit Apple iPhone screens. In a ruling passed down on Thursday, an appeals court affirmed a judgment over independent repair shop owner Henrik Husseby, I'm thinking, is now on the hook for not just destroying what Apple calls counterfeit iPhone screens he bought from China, but also for Apple's legal costs of about $26,000. So he got he got sued. He's an independent, he fixes phones, and I guess he fixes iPhones as well. And he ended up getting sued from Apple because he was repairing iPhones, and now he lost that battle, and now Apple is charging him to pay $26,000 for doing this. Husaby owns a small electronics repair shop called PC Company. I don't know. I'm sorry, guys. I don't know the pronunciation well. In Norway, to supply parts for that business, he ordered a shipment of 63 iPhone 6 and iPhone 6s replacement screens from Asia, which were seized by Norwegian customs agents in 2017 of July. So again, he bought these screens for the iPhone 6, iPhone 6s, but over 60 of them, they were seized, and he got in trouble for it. Following the Norwegian government informing Apple, the company had a lawyer represented the company propose a settlement. This settlement, as pitched, entailed Husaby paying $3,500, destroying the screens, and promising to no longer sell or deal with any products that infringe Apple's trademarks. Husaby refused the settlement and took Apple to court. The case hinged on the question of how exactly Husaby obtained the Chinese parts and how they were marked. The phone screens in question were Apple parts refurbished by Chinese resellers, but with the branding obscured. Reports vary whether the branding were completely obliterated or just marked over with a permanent marker. So, I mean, I guess that's the first issue right there. So you bought these parts. I don't know if he knew how reputable, how legal this company was, but for all of the screens to be, I don't know, kind of to have the branding or whatever obscured or like marked off or scratched off, kind of already puts into question the validity of these parts. Now, is it the owner's fault? I don't know. I'm not a legal person here, but I do have a few opinions on right to repair, and we'll kind of get into that. I'd love your thoughts on it too, guys. But so the first ruling on that matter led a win for Husaby. So he won that first battle. However, Apple appealed and won a verdict of the destruction plus payment of Apple's legal costs of about 12,000. I don't know why this is saying 12,000 when earlier it says 26,000. Anyway, regardless, it's a lot of money. We're sending strength and moral support to Henrik Husaby today. Advocacy group Right to Repair Europe said in a statement to the Register. He took a stand where other businesses were afraid to, and he will pay a heavy price. Apple has frequently cracked down on suspected counterfeiters, including the seizure of more than 1 million in fake accessories from a London warehouse in 2017 and general warnings about third-party and counterfeit power accessories. It's even gone after counterfeit accessories for sale on Amazon. Apple has also historically opposed right to repair laws, which have been proposed in 20 US states. So here's the thing. I this is a hard one for me because I believe in right to repair, right? I believe that if you buy my iPhone 11 Pro, I bought that phone. I paid $1,000 for that. I paid more than that. I paid $1,100 after taxes for that phone. That phone is mine. I should be able to do what I want with that phone. right? If I break my iPhone 11 Pro and I want to fix it myself, I should be able to fix it myself, right? Um, I guess the issue here is this is a person who wants to fix iPhones for a living and either replace a battery or do whatever. Now, I don't know about him sourcing the screens. That's another question. But I feel like as a businessman who wants to like fix a phone, if he knows how to do it and he does it properly, that's his right to do so. Now, the issue here is Apple refuses to give people schematics on how to fix stuff because Apple wants to completely control that segment. It's our phone. We own it. Um, we're the only ones who can fix it. We're the only ones that can do anything to it. You know, if your battery is dead or dying, we will be the only ones that can replace that battery and nobody else can. We're not giving that schematics, those blueprints to anyone else because we designed it, we made it, and no one else can touch it. I have an issue with that. It would be like telling people, "Hey, you bought a Nissan from us. We're the only people that can fix your Nissan. We're the only ones that can change the oil on your car, and you can only use our oil. We can only charge whatever we charge for it, and you can never bring it to a third party dealer, manufacturer, whatever, right? To get it fixed." And I'm not that doesn't sit well with me because that's really monopolizing on the industry. And I'll go through comments and you guys can agree or disagree, but I think that we should have a right to repair. I mean, I don't think that should be I already think it's fucked up that companies solder batteries into the phones, right? Because remember back in the day when when we had removable backs on phones and we could replace the battery ourselves. But now they don't do that. They solder it and they say, well, it's for waterproofing and blah, blah, blah. But I think a lot of that is more because, hey, the battery's dead. I don't want to deal with replacing this battery. I'm just going to buy a new phone. And that makes more money for the manufacturer, right? That's my speculation. That's how I feel about it. I mean, maybe it isn't. Maybe there are real issues about, but I don't buy it. I don't buy that shtick. Now, there's a YouTuber that I actually follow. His name is I'm probably gonna butcher his name. It's Lewis. I think Lewis Rossman. And I actually follow him. I don't follow a lot of tech YouTubers, but I follow him, and it's not that he fixes like PlayStations, he fixes Xboxes, and he kind of shares what goes wrong with them. But he has been going to a lot of legal battles with, I think, Apple for right to repair. And I love his channel because he's trying to stand up for the everyday person and say, hey, this is this is our stuff. Like, we should be able to do what we want with it. But he kind of goes there and he kind of calls out like the lobbyists that go there, that says that Lewis has no grounds to speak about what he's speaking about. And, oh, this is, whatever kind of money these companies pay people to say whatever they want. I'm not the most versed. I'm not the most well versed on this kind of stuff, but I do believe in right to repair. This guy, Hussaby, again, him sourcing the screens, the displays, that kind of puts other things into question. So I don't know how that goes. Like, if he bought them counterfeit, or he knew they were counterfeit, or he knew they weren't legit. Um, but I don't know. I mean, who's to say what you could do or what you can't do with a phone if you want to repair it or mod it? I mean, what about if somebody, I have a friend who had, and he did it, and he loves messing with his iPhone. And what he used to do is he would crack open the iPhone and he would put a light in the back. Remember when Apple's like on my MacBook Pro is not behind me, but remember when Apple has the light up design? He wanted to do that with his iPhone. And there were mods to do it. Who's to say that someone can't do that if they wanted to? Like, why can't people mod stuff on? I don't know. That's and people can talk about, well, you're going to void the warranty. I think once you break open that phone, the warranty is already voided already. Um, I don't know. I feel a lot of ways about it. And I don't know all the ins and outs, but let me go to chat. We'll talk about it. Hopkins says, if someone knows Lewis Rossman knows what the article is talking about. Hopkins. Yes, exactly. Exactly what I was talking about. The computer technician from New York, he hates Apple computers. Daniel says, if I remember correctly, if you don't marker off the Apple logo, Apple will have custom seize the product. And if you do, they will say that you are damaging and making a counterfeit item or something. Thank you for sharing that, because I didn't know how that works. And I'm sure Apple has their whole legal process on how that works and how to make sure that they're going to make it as difficult as possible for a company or a business to try to fix other Apple products, because Apple wants to keep that monopolization going. And I know they're going to, here's what's going to bother me. And I know I shouldn't let it, but I know they're going to be a couple people that says, so what? That's Apple stuff. Let Apple do what they want. Let them do. And again, the whole point, I can go back to car manufacturers and saying other manufacturer, like places like a Jiffy Lube, or like, a third party independent like repair shop shouldn't fix other cars. It should only be the dealerships. And that's the issue. You nix out competition like that. You push away competition, and that company will monopolize, and they will price things however they want. They will price it whatever they deem fit to give them the most profits. I mean, look at this guy who lost this battle. I look at it and I'm like, he probably had no chance, because they appealed it. Apple's going to appeal it. Of course, they have money to appeal it. Does this businessman have enough money? He doesn't have a team of lawyers. He most likely doesn't. At least he says he owns a small electronic shop. Again, this is me. And Daniel knows, if Daniel's still in here, Daniel, the news team, the news org we work with, like we talk about that kind of corruption and talk about that kind of like imbalance and injustice. And I just don't think it's right that one company can monopolize on a thing like repairing a phone. Like, you guys already manufacture it. And I'm not, I give credit to where credit is due, right? You make a good product, you make a solid product. I speak highly of it. I don't speak highly of the price on an iPhone, but I just there has to be a line where things have to I don't know. Things just have to be fair. Let me just go into chat. I know I sound like a broken record because I say a lot of that stuff already, but yeah. Okay, so let me see here. Brian says Apple just being jerks trying to make more money. Deepak says, I ordered a Lenovo ThinkPad thanks to Louis Rossman. Yeah, I like his channel. I do. I appreciate his work. I really do. Hopkins says he is absolutely right. You should be able to repair your devices your own. Daniel says the U.S. military makes the most money not off the sale of weaponry, but off the sale of replacement parts that only they supply. It's an enormously profitable venture. There you go. There you go. If anyone knows this stuff, it's Daniel. Daniel with that knowledge. Thank you for sharing. Ellie says, have always believed in right to repair. Yeah, completely agree. Deepak says their Touch ID sensor is hard coded to the display, so no third party display replacements. Yeah, I think I remember reading that. Thank you for sharing that. Yeah, these companies are going to do everything they can to make sure that they can make the most profit of it. They can make it as difficult as possible for someone to replace a battery, something as simple as replacing a battery. And that's what happens with proprietary systems. Think about all the money Apple has made off of the Lightning connector, the Lightning port. Imagine if they switched to USB-C 3-4 years ago. Imagine all the money they would have lost. But they get to make their money because of a proprietary system. I know there are going to be people who are going to say, well, that's smart. That's I'm like, my head is a little offset. That's smart, Jerome. Like, they're just being smart marketers. Well, maybe so, but for me, I just think that there's a line that shouldn't be crossed when it comes to the consumer and big corporations and big money and people fucking other people over. And I don't budge on that. I really don't. That's how I feel about a lot of things. That's how I feel about human rights. That's how I feel about like equal pay. Like, it just, there are things where I'm like, okay, well, yeah, maybe that's the most way you're going to make, or maybe that's the biggest way you're going to make the most money and whatever, and capitalism, people should make as much as they want. Well, I don't agree with that. I don't. And so when it comes to things like that, and just somebody who's just trying to make a living and trying to like put better competition to companies or whatever, I don't see anything wrong with that. And I'm not going to budge on that. And it's fine if you guys disagree. Like, I have no problem with that. It is what it is. I just don't think we should be living in such a, I guess, a society where, and I said this before, it shouldn't always be profit over people. It shouldn't.